So, what do you think with the Knobby tires? How similar is the MSP to the Sherman?
It definitely handles closer, but again, it's with it being 20 pounds less, you're gonna feel that difference.
Oh yeah.
Inherently, it's gonna be that little bit more nimble, but you'll still be able to handle it just about the same.
So you've
as far as jumping it, that's a different story. I mean, you're gonna have a harder time jumping the Sherman, but it's still doable.
still doable.
Yeah. MSP definitely feels so much safer with that like lack of the bar. So the Sherman bar, it takes away maybe like this much of the tire as opposed to the MSP, which just has the shell. The Sherman ends up having that little like 90-degree angle.
Yeah.
Which, because they have to accompany the battery. The battery is all the way up to here, and then the bar is right here, right past it. So then you do have to play in fear if you're going to be hitting curbs. Like say if we took this over, let's take it over this way. So you can see it over here. If you hit the MSP on the curb, it's fine. You don't have to worry about the tire depressing. Oftentimes the tire will depress almost like maybe an inch depending on your PSI. Where if you have the Sherman, the bar ends up reaching out a little bit farther. So then if you're at the angle, you have a higher likelihood of smacking that bar against the against whatever curb or whatever you're trying to hop up.
Yeah. And we did that when we tried the Sherman.
Yeah, I ended up clipping a couple times.
Yeah.
We didn't get to record it all the time, or we didn't get recordings of our of the Sherman clipping, but we got a couple of it hitting it straight on, where you had to like be a lot more careful and not able to hit it at higher speeds.
But a question I have for you, because I just changed from street tires to the Knobby tires, the same as in Sherman.
Yeah.
And I felt like a lot of the characteristic they're talking about for Sherman is really a Knobby tire
The
characteristic.
tire makes a huge difference. I mean, the rim is about the same, so you're gonna have about the same tire as the Sherman. You're gonna get a lot more drifting when you're doing like a really hard carve and holding it at speed. You're gonna end up you're riding on like little ribs, so it's gonna be sliding off. Whereas if you're using a MSX tire or a CST, you're gonna have a little bit more grip, so it's not gonna be sliding nearly as much when it's on the ground.
What are the advantages and disadvantages of a Knobby tire?
You use a Knobby tire when you're riding on mud, because what happens is with the wetter surface, you end up getting to get that little bit of extra traction because you get to bypass that top layer of wet soil or get that top layer of water in between the tire rather than having to drift right above it.
Oh.
But it's a good feeling. You're going to be sacrificing a lot of, or not a lot, it's going to be a little bit of the range, but that's in exchange for that little bit of comfort. If you're hitting a rock or if you're hitting like little bits of random debris on the ground, you're not going to feel it as much with the Sherman.
What about the carving?
Sherman tire. What is that?
Carving.
The carving. You see me ride. I mean, it's still definitely carvable, but it's not going to be nearly as locked in. When you have a street tire, you're going to feel every single mistake. So if I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do like a tiny, like a baby power slide. Baby power slide. If you do that on an MSX tire, you're not going to be you have a higher likelihood of end up falling out just because it shows all your errors.
Okay.
So you're not going to be able to see. This side is the you can see. If you're drifting it like that, normally if I did that with a street tire, it's a lot harder. But riding backwards, it's still about the same. It's totally doable. It's just the question of how much you want to hide your flaws and how much it's your riding style and what you're looking for. So,
But there are a lot of good riders with Knobby tires too.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. A lot of those people who ride with those Knobby tires end up liking to do off-road. Sorry, I'm moving a lot. But yeah, I mean, if you're doing off-road, Knobby tire is optimal. If you're doing a lot of wet terrain, if there's raining a lot, then Knobby tire works out for you. If you're in like a completely dry climate and everything's smooth, why bother? You really don't need it if you're not in that same terrain.
Coming from a guy like you who does a lot of off-road riding and you still have a street tire.
For me, I use an MSX tire on my MSP. My CST tire ended up going bald, but the street tires feels great because I'm riding on the road pretty often.
Okay.
Again, with the Knobby tire, it works for. So some people need that little bit of flaw mitigation for when they're riding.
Is that good for beginners then?
Yes and no, because yes, you'll be able to learn faster, but at the same time, you won't be able to learn how to mitigate the tiny mistakes.
Okay.
It'll hide a lot of your errors, and then it'll make you a little bit sloppier of a rider if you're put back onto like a solid street tire. Yeah. It's an exchange. Just depends on what you're looking for in the end. Also, what we had to do with this thing, you had to hit it with an angle grinder, just to get it to stop from rubbing against the walls.
Yeah.
You can do that, or you can run it against the sidewalk for a little bit. But it's a little bit of extra effort just to get it set up, but it's totally worth it depending on what kind of riding you're looking for. Again, bringing it back to the Sherman, it's going to be nice having that Knobby, but then with being able to change it back to the street tire for the Sherman, that could also be really beneficial for a lot of riders.
Okay.
Just at least to get the longer distance.
So, there's been a lot of controversy with the Sherman and the video we put out before, and people are commenting, and we didn't really get to try the Sherman properly. It was a first impression,
I guess
right?
not.
Yeah. So, would you consider, on the record, the 20 minutes, half an hour you have with the tire, you think you got a solid impression of it?
It depends on the rider. For me personally, I think I got enough to play with it. Sure, I could play with it more on the top end, but I mean, you're not going to get that much difference of a ride when once you reach that top end. It's going to just feel stable, really. Like when I was playing with it at higher speeds, like 25, 30, and then like the mid 30, it just feels stable.
Okay.
But again, like me, I like having that extra power at the lower end. I like not having to deal with dipping. In terms of carving, it just feels better having like a MSP or something that has the higher pedal angle. I like shorter pedals for one. That's definitely not everybody's opinion. People like to have the longer pedal for more comfort over time.
I like longer pedals.
Yeah. But it's along with that, if they added pedal spikes, then it would feel nice. But that's easily something that you could mod over time.
Yeah, but I also felt the Knobby tire had more stability on speed than the street tire, is what I felt for the MSP.
At speed, sure. Yeah, that's just the tire hiding like mistakes of riding.
Ugh. Not my mistake, hopefully. No,
it's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So
yeah, we'll see.
what do we have going on today? What's going on?
Oh, we're at the hub. Hikari sushi, all you can eat. Go here if you're in Vegas. It's a good time. But yeah, right after this we're gonna go riding, and then it'll be.
And we have a
nice.
guest, right?
Oh yeah, we got our boy NYTarzan, Mr. Daniel. He's gonna be
show him
with us, and then we're gonna see how New York likes to handle in Vegas.
All right, let's go and say hi to Tarzan.
We're gonna go say hi.
We're gonna say hi to Tarzan.
All right, let's go fuck with him.
Hi, sir.
Huh? Look, you have 100 rolls upstairs. That is crazy. And I put more maybe for walls. That's the same job.
What do you think about the Vegas so far?
It's cool.
It's cool?
No, I mean, it's not cool. It's hot.
It's very hot. Are you looking forward to finally ride now?
Yeah, finally. Yeah, because we just ate a little bit of sushi here. Just a little bit. Yeah. Now we're gonna ride.
And
What's up?
then break.
Happy
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Greg. Happy birthday to you.
It's totally his birthday.
It is totally his birthday. So, Law, where are we? Where is this place?
We're inside the sushi place.
Isn't this our HQ?
This is the HQ.
Yeah, this is the
This
HQ.
is our St. Mark's.
It works. Because the manager is a EUC writer.
Yeah, we got a writer. He's got a started him off in the V10. Now the dude's got an
Hey, this is Marlo. Hey.
So biggest EUC riders gets to have.
What wheels do you have?
I do have a lot of wheels.
Which is your favorite one?
Z10 is my favorite.
See, I kind of agree. It's a badass wheel.
I got MSP, Z10, and probably S18, but I'm still thinking I should pursue that or not.
He needs to cancel that pre-order. He needs to cancel that pre-order right now.
What would I buy?
You're gonna buy this East Gate. MSP probably the best one off-road. Oh, we love it. Don't buy Sherman. Sherman's shit.
Yeah, the Sherman shit. Oh, that's good you said that. Okay, why is the Sherman shit?
No, I just saying that. Okay.
Well, you're gonna have a lot of haters on YouTube now because it's going right up there after this.
You know why? Because I'm getting Sherman too.
Okay, but if anyone saw the secret video, they know what Tarzan will do to you
If you disagree with
if you disagree with him.
that's secret, but everybody sees
It's like tap 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 out. What is?
I gotta get a.
Oh, comfortable.
Is he on a break? Imagine if you're gonna fuck him up and
Wow, look at him. Whoa! Knobby tire. That's what happened to me first time I carved this morning. I was like, I did the same thing. Yeah, it's weird to carve in that.
Maybe turn your lights on. Why is it weird?
Because it's when it's knobby. I got a knobby tire
Oh,
on.
he's got the knobby tires.
Yeah.
Sherman experience.
It's like a.
It's a
it
little
feels like
squirrelier.
Yeah. It's you don't have confidence when you carve. It's weird, isn't it?
It's like, oh shit. It feels like I'm about to fall.
Han, you want to try?
Oh yeah, dude.
Try it, man. Be careful when you.
Where'd I put my helmet on?
It's in
In
there.
my car.
Oh, you put it in her?
Right, the car.
Now this guy right here. I've already ridden this one before.
You gonna ride skateboard
This
today?
guy's a Nickel rider.
Gonna ride home with my skateboard. I think we'll have home. So you try to preserve range from that stuff.
No, because the home's close to here, so I don't care. But otherwise I would, yeah.
What do you think?
It's a little bit squirrelier versus the other one, but you can probably get it.
Well, it's hard for them to send boards from China. Hey, man, hey. Marlo.
Boosted boards like went out of business. So
Marlo.
yeah, it was the best company.
Grab on.
Yeah.
Now X-Way is taking over.
18
out. It feels like riding the 18 out.
Family picture.
Really?
Yeah, it feels like riding the 18 out.
Time picture.
Okay.
Kyle, did you take a picture of it?
You gotta try this. I'm telling you, it feels like riding the 18 out because it feels like you're riding a slimmer wheel.
I got the best.
Okay, Greg. Let's hear your opinion. You gonna ride it?
Take a picture, guys. Picture.
Oh.
You want me going
yours?
this way?
I don't know. What do you think? What do you want?
Is that spin?
Wow.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Spin. Happy birthday to you. How are you, man?
DJ Spence's birthday.
Yeah. Cyclops.
This is embarrassing.
Yeah, ride it. I promise you.
It's the most embarrassing thing you can do. Shit, it's like just sing your birthday to someone.
I'm gonna try and do that. I was fully juiced when I
We can get free drinks like this.
Yeah? So you're good to ride?
How long you
Like this, baby?
For a week.
Pretty, right?
Yeah.
You like it, big.
Get it right.
Yeah, sure, man.
Great. What do you think about the knobby tire?
Wait a second.
That's fine. Is it fine? Yeah. What's any different attributes?
The only difference is like when you lean, it'll lean. You have to pull it back up.
Yeah, you have to
Other than
lean.
that, it's fine.
Okay.
Is it similar to the 18 ounce? Because
Yeah,
it feels like a thinner wheel.
it feels like a thinner wheel. So it's a little bit more limbo, but in a lean set, you do have to pull it back up.
All right.
Your pad's falling.
But other than that, yeah.
I think because of hit.
I gotta tape the top of that. We'll take care of it.
Okay, guys.
If I choose to run in
We're ending it here.
yeah, we're